It's your man Alex, and in this video, I'm going to be showing you guys my take on an easy beginner self haircut that isn't a buzz cut. So let's get right into it. So to get started with this self haircut, I'm going to be doing it a little bit different because this is aimed more towards those who are beginners. Maybe you've cut your own hair 1, 2, 3 times in the past, and you want to start doing something slightly more advanced, but is also still within that beginner category. First, I'm going to be starting off with the number 1 guard, and I'm going to be putting the lever in the halfway position. So with the 1 guard, lever halfway, I'm going to be starting with the first guideline, going up right toward the top of my eyebrow, and then angling it slightly downward as I get toward the back of my head. And then you see I'm just going back and forth all throughout my head to make sure that all of the hair is exactly the same length, because of course you don't want to miss any spots. That'll just leave bulky spots and then it'll just make the haircut look weird. So you want to make sure you go through your hair as many times as you need to make sure that all of the spots are even, because typically what I've found is that when you're cutting your own hair with the clipper, the sides by your temple are really light and they're not very dense with hair. So you'll tend to notice there's less hard line on the sides right around your temple where your ear is, and then once you get toward the back of your head where I'm getting to right now, that's where the hair gets really dense and there's a lot more hair. So you have to just make sure that you're running the clippers through your head as many times as you need to so that you don't miss any spots, and of course stretch out your skin if you need to so that you can get in between any crevices, in the skin folds on the back of your head. Now for the next guideline, I'm going to be using the 1.5 guard lever halfway again. So you'll tend to notice that I'm doing a little bit of a trend here with the lever in the halfway position. Now normally whenever I give myself fades, if any of you have ever seen my fade videos, I always use the lever open when I'm putting in the guidelines. But for this haircut in particular, because it's more of a beginner oriented haircut, I'm putting the lever in the halfway position because after we've put in all of the different guidelines, I'm going to go back and just slightly adjust the lever into the open position, and that should really make it easy for you guys when you're just starting out with the fading process, so it doesn't overcomplicate it, make it overly difficult than it needs to be. But again, you're still kind of learning how the lever works on your clippers, which is really beneficial and helpful for you later on as you progress in your self haircut journey. Now going in with the final guard, I'm going to be using the number 2 guard lever halfway again. So you can see I'm literally just keeping it as simple as possible, going in sequential order with the guards, starting with the 1 guard, 1.5 guard, and now we're using the number 2 guard. And again, for each guideline, I'm still using the lever halfway, going up 3/4 to 1 inch for each of the guidelines. Now, this guideline in particular, because I'm starting to get toward the longer length by the top of my head, what I'm trying to do is go in at a 90-degree angle and just cut straight up and away from my head. As you can see here, I'm just going straight up at a 90-degree angle and then flicking out at the same exact time, because I don't want to create a really harsh line when we get to that longer length. I kind of want to blend it as I'm cutting with the clipper at the same exact time. Now that we're finished putting in all of the guidelines, we can start the fading process. So what I like to do, of course, is put in all the guidelines first, and then I like to fade everything in afterwards. I find this to be a lot easier, and it's just, really easy to recognize where the hard lines are, and it just makes it easier for me to understand what guards and lever positions I should be using to get rid of those hard lines. So to get rid of the first hard line, I'm using the number 1 guard with the lever open. Now, the lever halfway is what I use to put in the guideline. But if you go in and just slightly open the lever to the lever open position, it's literally opening the lever and adjusting the guard by like 1-2 millimeters, which is barely anything. And if you've got lighter hair, it's not so dark, maybe it's not so thick as mine, you're really not going to be able to see any of the hard lines. So just by tweaking the lever to the lever open position, you should really be able to get rid of 90%, if not more, of that hard line right away. And so here I'm just doing the same exact thing with the 1.5 guard lever open, just going from underneath the hard line, going up, hitting it, and flicking out with a C-like motion. And again, because this is a beginner self haircut, I want to keep the cutting of the length on top very simple for you guys. So all I'm doing is just trying to connect that longer length to the existing hair length on these sides that we just finished cutting with the clippers. So all I'm doing is grabbing it with my index finger, my middle finger, my comb as well, pulling the hair outward from my head and then cutting literally straight down or straight up at a 90-degree angle. And this is going to help blend in that longer length on top into the faded portion on the sides and back. And if any of you guys are having difficulty with your mirror setup and you're kind of seeing things weird, maybe you have a handheld mirror, I highly recommend you check out my YouTube video that was titled The Best Mirror Setup for Self Haircuts. I'll also leave that linked in the cards section above for you guys to check out, especially if you need some help with your mirror setup and you're having difficulty seeing all the different angles and especially cutting the back of your head. So now that we're pretty much finished with majority of the cutting portion of the haircut, now we can give ourselves a really nice lineup, right? No good haircut is finished without a lineup. So we have to clean up the lines, make everything nice and sharp. Otherwise, you're just wasting your time. So we're going in with the trimmer now. Again, my trimmer has a T-blade. You want to make sure it has a T-blade because it cuts more surface area with every single cut. It also makes cutting lines really sharp. So make sure you have a T-blade on your trimmers. Link in the description or in the bio if you want to check out the ones that I use and that I recommend for self haircuts. So going in, I'm just cutting all the way around my ears, down my neck, the back of my neck as well, that horizontal section. And again, this is where having a really good quality mirror setup is really important, especially when you get toward the back of your head. You want to make sure that you see everything appropriately. So if you have the $7 mirror from Walmart or Target, even a 3-way mirror could work with this as well, perfectly fine. Handheld mirrors, not major fan of. It's a little too much, so I wouldn't recommend a handheld mirror, but definitely my mirror setup is, in my opinion, the best for self haircuts. And as someone that's been cutting their own hair for over 16 years, I think, it's fair to say that it actually works and my work shows for itself. So definitely go in with this mirror setup and be very patient, adjust the mirror as you need to. But sometimes if you feel like you have to have somebody in your house, touch up the back if you feel like you can't reach, because I know it can be a little bit difficult to bend your arms and it's a little bit weird. So if you have to, go tell your brother, your sister, mom, dad, whoever lives with you, roommate, to just fix up the back of your head real quick. It'll take them 10 seconds and you'll be pretty much good to go. So to continue with the lineup, you want to go in and give yourself a crispy forehead lineup. So what I like to do is keep it simple. I like to take the safer route. Instead of using my trimmers, I actually use these little scissors that I got from Target probably 12 years ago for like $4 or $5. And all I do is just cut along my hairline. Any of these really short baby hairs that don't fully grow out, those are the ones that I cut. And once I'm done with my forehead, I like to do the vertical bars as well with my trimmers. To finish off the haircut, I'm using some organic clay by Kouras for a natural high hold matte finish. What I like to do is take about a pea-sized amount of product, rub it between my palms until it's creamy, take a nice whiff of that beautiful rosemary aroma, and work it evenly throughout my hair. Depending on my hair length, I'll usually add 1 or 2 more pea-sized amounts of product to give me a hold that lasts the entire day. Now, organic clay has ingredients that are scientifically shown to promote hair growth, slow down hair loss and graying, and also moisturizes and creates more fuller, thicker hair. So if you're looking for something that nourishes your hair while giving you a perfect style every time, definitely check out our products using the link in this video. And so this is my take on an easy beginner self haircut. Let me know in the comments below how you think the haircut turned out and what other hairstyles you'd like me to try out next. But make sure you leave a like, subscribe, check out Organically by Kouras, and watch this video if you want to take your self haircuts to the next level.